This is my 73rd Greek island. You will find out which one it is in just a few minutes. Yassas, Kalispera, good afternoon. Today is Sunday, June 7th, 2026, currently 80 degrees Fahrenheit. That is 27 degrees Celsius. And this is the little Greek island of Castellorizo. Look at it, it's absolutely exquisite. Whoa, we have, looks like stairs going up there, probably to a church or monastery or castle or something. Greek flag. There it says, I guess, Hellas, as in Hellas or Greece. And this is the main town, the only town, on a very, very small island. As you could see, the runway is less than a kilometer long. And look at this harbor. Just gorgeous. The colorful buildings, right on the water, restaurants here. There was just a huge ferry ship out there that just left, probably headed for Rhodes, where I just flew from this morning. It is only about 12 noon. That flight was at 11 in the morning, and it was only 25 minutes from Rhodes town. Okay, where is that pool? Is that here on Castellarizo? If so, I gotta find it. Looks like that is the, yeah, that is the town here. We'll see that building in just a second. In 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Right there. Old tower. So I'm walking over to my accommodation, which I rented for 2 nights. And it is a short walk over here. There, again, Greek flag and Ellis. I'm assuming that's Ellis for Greece. I think of it as Hellas, but there's only 5 letters. Anyways, I had kind of little expectations. I didn't know what the town was going to look like. I hadn't seen pictures of it before, and I'm just blown away. It reminds me of Simi and Halki, a similar bay with all the colorful buildings. And then there is Turkey right there. So I have seen Castellarizo Island before. Back in either 2020 or 2021, during COVID, I was traveling in Turkey, but Americans weren't allowed to come into the Schengen zone of Europe. And so I visited Kaş, a very cute little town that is just other side of these hills on the mainland of Turkey out there. And I could see Castellarizo Island from town, but I couldn't come here, and it was really hard to accept that I was that close to a Greek island that I'd never been before, and it was, you know, a short little ferry ride away, but I couldn't come here. So it took a while for me to finally get back, but here I am, and very glad that I made the trip. It's really one of the most beautiful main towns in Greece. I did not quite expect that to be the case. All right. So my accommodation is right over here somewhere. So slow internet, but as to be expected on this remote little island. And a cute room with 2 fireplaces. So I was speaking with the owner here, and this was the main bedroom for the house when it was initially built as a family residence. And he said that this was actually a kitchen separate from the bedroom. So I'm not quite sure how that worked. Maybe there was an entrance. No, that's just going down to the ground down there. So I'm not sure how it worked, if there was a kitchen open to the bedroom or what. But anyways, I guess that was to heat this room, and then that for the kitchen, and maybe for doing cooking on it as well. And he said that the house was built before 1900s, so more than a century old. And that right there is where they put the images of Jesus and Mary, etc., the Christian sort of little, shrine of sorts. And so it is 73 euros or $84 US per night, attached bathroom. Very, very cute. My one complaint, more so than the internet, is the 2 twin beds. So the room last night and this room, in both cases I specified double bed, but in both cases then I got 2 twin beds pushed together, which kind of seems to be a thing that they kind of think that 2 twin beds squished together makes a double bed, but it doesn't. You can't sleep in the middle of the bed on the crack, of course, and so you can only utilize the one bed. So I have this place for 2 nights, and I am very, very happy to be here and looking forward to getting out there and exploring the island more. So a little balcony there, and just a 10-second walk from the water of the harbor there. So I'm a little wiped out, early morning, so going to take a little break here for a little while, not sure how long, and think about what to do for today. I'm not feeling up for that big hike up the hill today. Possibly tomorrow, we shall see. But I will definitely show a little bit more of this lovely little and little known Greek island right next to Turkey. This town is so ridiculously peaceful. It's a trip how absolutely picturesque and perfect it is, and yet almost no tourists. If this was closer to Rhodes and only a 30 or 45 minute or whatever ferry ride away, it would be just swarmed with people, but the ferry takes, depending on which one, perhaps 4 hours, but actually the ferry that I booked in 2 days is, I think, only 2.5 hours, so that's not bad, but I guess it just is not very well known because it's a very short flight or a short boat ride from Turkey. I guess in July and August it will be busy. Maybe some cruise ships dock here, not sure about that, but it was a big ferry, so perhaps cruise ships could dock here, in which case then it would get overwhelmed. But anyways, I decided that instead of hiking up there, which looks like a whole lot of work, and I'm just not in the mood for it today, instead I'm going to hike up there, which will get us a bit of a view and see a historical building, but a much, much easier hike. First, let's take a look at the beautiful church, which I can already see is locked, but do we have a year? Yes. Oh, well, very recent. All right, so it says, His Holiness Christomos renewed the holy autos of the holy great martyr Geos Pegadion with the assistance of the holy metropolis of Simi, Andreos, Leveris Anastasios, Allegiali, Eurobank Greece, Shapur Mystery, Association of Castellarizo, De Castellarizion Australia, Ikaterinis Sturatus in the year 2019-2025. Okay, so yeah, it is saying who supported, I guess, the building of the church in that year, so, or in those years, 2019 to 2025. Speaking of Australia, let me put the phone away and tell a quick little anecdote about the flight. So I guess these are some of the things to see around here. The Blue Cave, I'd heard about that. Colonis, Placus, little beach at the bottom of a cliff, I guess. St. George Island, and then whatever that is. And so after the plane landed on that short little runway, here's a boat with some people coming out on a day tour probably. After the flight landed, then I had to pee really bad, and so first thing I did was go into the bathroom in that teeny tiny little airport building. And then I came out and went and found my luggage, and then I overheard some people, a couple, talking in English, and they were saying that they'd missed the bus. And so in that case, I too had missed the bus just in the course of 2 minutes of going to take a pee. But I guess there was a bus all ready to go and taking people into town. And by bus, it was more of a van. But I then asked her about the bus, and she says, well, this other lady who works at the airport is calling the bus driver and informing him that there are people here who missed the bus, and so then I get included in one of the people for him to come back and pick up. And so I'm not sure if he came all the way into town and then went back or just turned around, but either way, it's a very short ride into town, because I had looked on my map and it was a 40-minute walk. So you could walk it, but that was going to be a long walk, especially with my backpack. So I was happy that the guy was coming back to pick us up. But anyways, while we're waiting there, then we end up talking. And as I said, speaking of Australia, it turns out that she is of Greek origin. Her family is from Castellarizo. I forget if the man had Greek heritage as well or not. But anyways, she was returning. All right, so here's the little square where I was before, and you can see the big hike there. But let's continue around the harbor. And then I'd also heard about Roe Island. It's an even smaller island right next to Castellarizo. Oh, okay, yeah, so there's Castellarizo, and then there's Roe. And St. George Island, which I guess is super small and just has a church on it. And so that lady was... That lady was returning since the last time that she had been to the island, which was in 1978. So almost 50 years ago. I didn't catch her age, but she was not born here. She said, I think her grandmother was born here. And so she must have been here when she was a kid or a teenager or something. But she was now returning almost 50 years later to see the island of her family's origins. Okay, so the cuteness continues with all of these different colored doors and nice little restaurants. And a Greek flag. I guess this is the post office. And a colorful boat. And there is the tower, or whatever it is. So I guess this is the port where I will take the ferry in 2 days. Back to Rhodes. But where are all the people? It is going into mid-June now, and so Greek tourist season is underway. Rhodes town was busy, very busy. But not Castellarizo. It is in a different realm. All right, Looks like we can probably walk up this way. And museum. So I walked a little bit further and it looks like this is a mosque. By the looks of that. Oh, yes. There we go. Arabic. The archaeological site is closed due to an emergency. Huh. And the museum this way. All right, let's head up the hill. All right, so we have some steps going up here. Look at this, pretty old ruins here. Castro, the castle, all right. And I guess this is a church. And there the Castro. That hike up the side of the cliff there looks so intriguing, but also very intense. Hopefully tomorrow I will be in the mood to tackle it. So I think that I forgot to give the full context at the beginning of the video of the flight and how I got here and everything, because my last video was a very long ways away on Samothraki Island, and then I ended that with taking the ferry back to Alexandropoli with my rental car, but I didn't have my plans figured out yet, except that I was planning to visit my good friends Nicole and Christos. I'm sure that many of you will remember them from my visits to Paros Island 3 different times, where they lived for more than a decade, but last year they moved to northern Greece on the mainland between Alexandropoli and Thessaloniki. And so that was part of the plan, was to visit them after Samothraki. So I got a hotel for 3 nights in the town where they live and hung out with them, and then was trying to make up my mind about my upcoming plans. I was figuring to fly south to one of the islands in the southern Aegean Sea and probably head for a new island that I hadn't been to yet before. But there were a number of different possibilities and various flight options. Wow, okay, look at this view. Whoa. Oh man, that is wild. So I guess that is the St. Georgios Island with the little church on it. And then out there, Kaş, Turkey. Very, very cute little town. So notice the similarities. Kaş, Castellarizo. Kaş is spelled K-A-S, Castellarizo, K-A-S, Telarizo. I'm assuming that is because of a ancient connection, because Kaş was a Greek town, as was most of Turkey at one point or another. And so the road snaking along over there and around the corner. And so after checking various different possible places to fly to and then maybe take a ferry to an island or whatever, then I ended up settling on coming here directly. Not exactly directly. I had a night last night in Rhodes, but only that one night last night. So the flight from, ooh, we got stairs going up. Okay. I bought both of the flights together. Thessaloniki to Rhodes, and then there was a 19-hour layover, and then the short flight there from Rhodes to Castellarizo. Okay. Are we going to encounter a locked gate up here? We'll find out. Wow, that water is so gorgeous. This island has a perfection to it that not all Greek islands have. It just has this exquisite feeling. Whoa, boat wreck. Right there. A little boat that is half submerged, the back down in the water. Wow, so when did that happen? I can see gas station over there. I wasn't sure if I was going to rent a car when I landed, but then landed and there was no rental car company there. So I don't know if you can rent a car, but there's probably at least motor scooters or maybe quads to rent, maybe cars, but not sure if I will even need to, especially if I'm just going to do that hike tomorrow. All right. Excellent. Looks like we can get all the way into the castle. Yeah. Really not much of an actual castle, just a watchtower, I guess. Okay, mission accomplished. I think I'm basically going to leave it there, save the further exploring for tomorrow. There you can see the road going up the hill and then to the airport out that way. It's only 2 miles to the airport, so it wouldn't have been too bad of a hike because it was all downhill coming this way at least. But still, that would have been a long walk in the hot sun with my big backpack. And here I can fully see that height going up there. And then that is obviously a Muslim monument as well. I got distracted by the view and forgot to read the plaque there. So actually, let's go down and read that plaque on my way back down. Ottoman bath. The bath is located approximately 25 meters from the castle. 16th century, the Muslim quarter, which housed 50 families in 1909. It is a small building, yep. Oh, and there's a fireplace for warming it up. So build a fire in there and then heats up the water and you have a jacuzzi of sorts, or a sauna, or whatever exactly it is. It includes only one hot room, which features an arched recess and a faucet. Connected to the hot room are cold and hot water tanks and underlying furnace. So that's what we just saw there. All right, very interesting. Some more of the complex history of this part of the world. All right, so I'm going to walk down this path and see if it heads back to the town, which I'm sure that it will. And then here we have some buildings that look very old, and look at this, another series of steps. Looks like going down to the water down there. Yeah, overgrown with grass here, but you can still do it, it looks like. And here we have a windmill. Let's take a closer look at that. And it's wide open. All right. Wow. So what is this? The school? Stadio. (1902, 1903). Yeah, not sure if it's a school or more of an administrative building. Definitely feels like the school. I guess school is probably out for summer at this time. What is that? I guess a cross, 1848. Ooh. Whoa. A spiral staircase. It's teeny tiny and blocked. My God, so many discoveries in this little town. Look at that thing. You can barely go up it, but if you're persistent, you can easily get over this thing. I'm not going to try to... Well... It keeps going and going. I think I will refrain from going as far as you can go for now, but we'll see. Maybe tomorrow tackle it, but it's going to be quite tricky going up and then especially coming back down. Castellaresian honey. I bet that's tasty. And it looks like this is the main church. And this is also the largest square that I've seen. So maybe the main square where events occur. In the evening, I'm sure. And we have a plaque here, all in Greek. 1902, 1907, 2023. And there it says 1906. Beautiful church though. Looks like it was probably repainted since 1906. All right, well, I am going to walk back down into the town and head back to my room, get out of this intense sun, take a little break, and then head back into town to find some dinner in not too long.